All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's important and that we hope and see my slide and see my video. My name is Paul Erubami. I am the Managing Director of Max-Migold Limited and Head of Faculty of the Max-Migold Training Center. For the 1st of January 2025, the president of the Association of Facility Management Practitioners Nigeria. So now I'm the immediate past president, member of the council. I represent, a pioneering group of facility management advocates in Nigeria. Max-Migold as a company has been at the forefront of FM education in the continent of Africa. And I'm happy when I see the impact and progress that we're making, sharing, educating, equipping, amplifying facility management, and building the careers of professionals in the industry. We have our flagship facility management training program, which is the Facility Management Mastercraft Diploma course. A 3-month program of classroom and field trips, followed by 6 facility management projects as capstones to complete and earn the FM diploma from Max-Migold Limited. The next batch, which is the 23rd batch of the FM diploma, starts on the 3rd of February, and we are looking forward to having a full house as always. There are going to be physical classes that holds every Saturday, and there will be virtual classes that holds during the week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if you are subscribed to the virtual classes, all you need to do is log in and join the program from anywhere in the world, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. UTC or GMT +1 for that live class. So it's not an online class, it's a virtual live class. Then on Saturday, we have the physical class, which holds from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. UTC. And it's a repeat of what we have done during the week. For those who would prefer to have physical engagements, on face-to-face interactions with the network and also with the faculty members. So that's the big deal for us, being able to provide that. So if you've paid for the virtual class, yes, you attend the virtual classes. But if you've paid for the physical class, you are also able to attend virtual classes. The payment covers both. For those from international, inquiries, students not joining from other countries across Africa, all you need to pay is $650 for tuition, and it's a one-off payment upfront before the class starts. For those joining the physical class, 750,000 naira one-off payments for the physical class. Those who are joining the virtual class, from Nigeria or can pay in naira, have the option of paying in 2, 3, or even up to 6 installments set up as direct debits in our platform, in the Media Connect platform. Okay. Last week, we had the free training, the Giving Back series. We had a whole day of facility management training, career planning, and progress in the field of facility management. And it was a very, very robust session. We are working on putting together the day's proceedings and putting it up on our YouTube channel so that more people will have access to it. We have the course in our learning management portal, the free training course in our learning network. And we want as many people as possible to earn that certificate because it actually exposes you to facility management for free, gives you an opportunity to earn a certificate that puts you, a foot in the door in the industry. So even if you've not done training before, just having the FM introduction to FM training, which we are offering for free throughout the month of January, which I want to take advantage of. So if you were not in the free training session we had at the University of Lagos main campus, our training center, and you are interested in the free training certificate, go over to our social media platforms, Facebook, Max-Migold on Facebook, on Twitter or X, on TikTok, on Instagram, and join our management training WhatsApp group. The team will be dropping the link to that WhatsApp group as well as our Telegram groups. Just indicate interest in receiving the guideline for studying and earning the free training certificates, and add that to the value we are giving to you starting this year, 2025. Okay, so if you have further questions about all of these announcements, upcoming programs, you want to request our calendar for your team, because we have short courses, 2 days, 3 days courses that you can also book for your team, either by coming to our calendar, events, open enrollment events, training events in our training center, or booking for us to come and take the training to you in your facility. That also enables you to customize those trainings. Please reach out to training@maxmigold.com. You can also chat me on WhatsApp on 080-220-20122. That's our official WhatsApp line. Also, the alternate WhatsApp line, 0815-980-2570, is also available to reach out to us, and then we can send you our brochures, send you our calendars, so that you can get your things involved. Don't forget that we have special bonanzas still ongoing for the FM Mastercraft diploma. Till next week, we will still be giving out 100,000 Naira for anybody taking either the virtual program or the physical program. Yeah, that's still available. And we also have the group discounts that is a whopping 50% of the tuition. If you have 10 or more people from the organization coming on board on the program, you get to pay just half the tuition, cover the rest for you. So take advantage of this, and let's grow in 2025 with the right competencies to deliver value, to reduce costs, to be up and doing energy efficiency and sustainability, to be able to manage people and be productive, to be able to provide the services that our clients are paying for, to be able to deliver to the level where we can have proper quality metrics that shows we are doing what we promised to our clients. Okay, you need to learn the body of knowledge of FM, and that's what the FM diploma does. And for many of you who are joining, who have taken the FM diploma or experience in FM, you want to take advanced certifications. You want to climb that ladder to career fulfillment at the ultimate level. Please chat me up on 080-220-20122 WhatsApp line, and let us have that career planning next steps conversation. You have the IFMA International Credential Courses, SFP, FMP, CFM, that can guide you through on how you can take on those as well. So there's a lot in the FM space that you will benefit from by staying in our network. Our YouTube channel is filled up with close to 200 live classes for free. Okay, so go there, watch, and learn a lot of things available for free. By the end of the month of January, we're going to restrict access to our course content that are currently free on YouTube, because people are paying to take these courses in our system. But it will not be lost on you because we have a learning management system where all of our training courses are cataloged. And we have people who have taken the programs in the past, given continuous access to come back for refreshers. Yeah. And then we have a series of about 150 online skills development courses, from workplace productivity, desktop productivity, personal development, interpersonal relationship, customer service, help desk management, all kinds of courses that makes you an effective workplace and productive service provider in any industry. They are available at facilitymanagementcourses.com. That's our official website for all of our courses. We're also partners with the Global Skills Development Council, and all GSTC courses are available to subscribe for in our Max-Migold.com/training website. So be around, stay connected, and you will always get the best results and best service from Max-Migold. And if you have any consulting requirement, technical challenges, issues and projects you want to deal with in your properties and properties portfolio, please reach out to us at Max-Migold. We take on projects for smart buildings, energy efficiency, asset management and asset tagging, facility management software deployment, facility management operations, staffing of the team, as well as training, amongst other services. So we are here to serve and want to make 2025 a more robust year of offerings that gives you value. All right, so getting into today's session, the building lifecycle management. The reason I decided to take this session today is because we have been in an industry where design, development, construction is completed. These are completed before the facility managers are engaged. That is a major aberration. So in this session, we're going to talk about the life cycle itself and, basically stress the relevance of facility management's, presence in the life cycle process of your facility. If you're a developer and you don't have an FM partner, please come to us at Max-Migold. We're ready to work with you to walk you through the entire life cycle. If you're an investor, if you're a property manager, we have the values we bring to the table at every phase or stage of the property development cycle. And some of it are what we're going to be talking about today. To put them into practice, you want a partner to help you implement this, then come to us at Max-Migold. We're ready to support and stay. All right, so we'll talk about the stages, we identify best practices for managing each of the phases, the role of facility managers, the role of technology and sustainability, how to optimize building performance through this life cycle. And that life cycle is, it's meant to help achieve what the original intention for that facility was, at the onset. Okay, so we're going to talk about all of these in this session in the next 45 minutes or so. All right, so the facilities are conceived at the planning stage by investors, by potential or would-be owners, and the thinking, the whole thinking process starts from a need that has been identified for a property, an opportunity that property can take advantage of, a problem or an issue of adequacy or inadequacy of current facility portfolios. All of these stem from conversations of the proprietary of having a new facility. So that's the beginning, right? Now, if you determine that there is a need, an opportunity, and a situation that needs you to bet a new facility, that is hinged on people and their needs, because it's people that will use the facility. So that's where it starts from. And so before we get into design, before we get into all of the, how to build, what to build, how big a space to build, how high to go, how wide to go, and so many things that goes into design, we start from discussing the needs of the end users, as well as the profitability of the core business or the investor in such a project. And then to ensure that these objectives are met, there are things to consider during design concerning operational readiness, design concerning sustainability, regarding all of the things that goes into the building in its life cycle. If you ignore those planning, and all you did was decide what you want to build, and then you went ahead to build it, there will be a whole lot of issues. At the end of the day, you may not achieve the reason why you put the facility in the first place. Okay, so set the goals for the facilities, determine the extent, in terms of scope, right? And then look beyond that into operational readiness, into operability and sustainability considerations, including what's going to happen at the end of its useful life. Do not start a development when you are not able to figure out that entire life cycle consideration. So that's where we are starting from in this conversation. And what is the FM's relevance? Why is facility managers? Why are we the center, the core, the main profession that's supposed to be at every stage of the development process? I understand, every of the major or the core build professionals groups are fighting for prominence, but this is not about tough words. This is about functionality. This is about sustainability. This is about results. Facility managers will take over the facility when you are done. So in essence, you are building because of us. FMs are the ones that are going to take over and manage. Now, what you hand over to FM has to be something that can enable the FM to provide the value you intended to achieve from the onset when you started the thoughts, started the planning for that investment. Okay, and you as a developer, an architect, engineer, town planner, quantity surveyor, estate surveyors, valuers, property managers, and the rest, you need to pick the brain of the facility manager throughout the process of development. So even if you don't have an experienced facility manager in-house, get consultants. That's where Max-Migold comes in. We're very good partnering with developers and construction companies. Everything from planning to design, just basically review it for all of the things that are going to come back to haunt us in the future, especially when it comes to wastage, operational inefficiency, frequent disruption because of cumbersome maintenance processes, because maintainability considerations were not given, number of staffing requirements, technology, that has to be adopted to make things easy for the operations and maintenance of the facility. Those considerations need to be given. So you need an FM on board from day one. During planning, FM contributes information on scope and scale of the need or the problem, because he's the one experiencing the end users right now. During design, the FM contributes on material choices. And they surprise you, engineers might think they know all the technical, information regarding different material choices and may want to make those decisions on their own. But someone has been part of understanding historical patterns on how these materials and work methods have played out over the years. So when it comes to degradation curves, for example, when it comes to user experience, for example, when it comes to aging, wear and tear, and the impact of these aging processes on the different types of materials and work methods, you need the facility manager's experience. When pipes get blocked, when electrical circuits start heating up due to overloading, when there are too much inconveniences with points of plugging, and you have to start using extensions and the rest, when you have leakages in one point and you have to isolate the entire building because the right valves were not placed at different places, when electrical design are not done to be modular, when you want to start billing and start splitting up user data, you start having issues because you didn't consult those who understand all of this complications, because we live with them and we can advise you in this area. So FMs need to also increase their level of experience, as they encounter these experiences. Please make note, generate the kind of data that you can use to substantiate your contributions when you are talking with professionals who are experts in design construction. We are not the experts in design and construction. We are just there to provide that feedback on things that could become problems. For example, a simple suggestion to use 45-degree bends for plumbing piping, especially drainage pipes. It may sound very, unserious, but when it comes to experiences and how silt and debris and other things get to clog or block pipes over time, you realize that that's advice is a big deal. So many things: waste collection, management, provision for spaces for operations teams, cleaners, security guards to have conveniences, resting places, and do their shift management. All of these for facilities that are going to be run, whatever schedule is going to run it. It's important that the FM is involved. This input we're going to talk about in a bit. And that's how every stage requires FM input. Okay. So whether you're defining project scopes and requirements, looking at functionality, safety, operational readiness, maintainability considerations. Some facilities have, not enough manholes in chambers. Some have crawl spaces in roof, in the ceiling, or in shafts that are not ventilated, for example, and so many things that when the FM looks at the design, ask a few questions. It's easy to tweak those designs. Energy efficiency. When constructing, everybody's goals seem to be get it done quickly, then go done cheaply, right? But when we consider the implication of that on the life cycle costing of such facility in terms of operations and maintenance, it will be easy to reason again and say, okay, so why don't we make some changes now that can give us lower costs? Because when you build for 2 years, 3 years, and you deliver the property, it's delivered, the costs seem to be high because we hear of that billion that goes into construction. But when we start operations and maintenance, we spend in trickles, we spend in myriads of ways. And so people are not often conscious of the fact that in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years, we spend more than 10 times what it costs to deliver the build. So if you are going to save on 10%, or you're going to save on 900, 90%, 9 times that initial spending, you might want to spend a little bit more on 10% and save it over the useful life of the facility, which is not being penny wise and pound foolish. So all of the focus, the cost effectiveness, the sustainability, safety requirements, code compliance, energy efficiency, environmental and eco-friendly practices, and so on and so forth. Even the experience of the users in terms of flow, in terms of how people interact with the facility. it's good to have this conversation so that you don't make a dysfunctional project and deliver it. And because the FM is often the first person who speaks on behalf of the owner in the project. To be honest, when you put a project team together, they are all outsiders, the consultants, the projects, there are two levels of consultants. The consultants who do the design and come up with all the concepts, bits of quantities and the rest. And then you have the project consultants who are working with the contractor to ensure that what's been designed is what they are building. And then you have the contractor themselves who deliver the job, and hope that, of course, they get certification of job completion from the consultants. But now, the way the system is creates a network of accomplices that are not in the interest of the owner and the end users. Why? The payments you make for the construction during the milestone payments, the consultants also get paid in those milestones. So it's in the consultant's interest to allow things to slide, because when a contractor is being paid, they also get paid. So they are all on one side. Now, in a very in a bizarre twist, some owners, developers, even investors, they have a short-term mentality to cost exposures, right? They treat decisions with a kick-it-forward approach, where considerations of things that can be done with a little bit more cost at the upfront construction stage, they allow it to be ignored because it saves money. Sometimes they are under the project delivery constraints of delivering it quickly, delivering it cheaply, right? And so they tend to compromise even the owners because they feel that some of these considerations will be dealt with later. Only that when later comes, it begins to choke and everybody begins to feel the heat. Okay. So the FM should be involved at every stage to ensure that what's been designed and agreed, what goes into the design, and value engineering is incorporated into the whole process. The FM should also be involved in, we're not the project manager. We're not there to take over the job of the project manager, but be around during construction. Okay? Be around, take a look at things, sign in, do some inspections, make some notes, attend site meetings. Why do you need to do this? Because there are things you will be privy to that will help you later. There are things that will be buried and covered up, and changes that would have been made that probably wouldn't be properly documented, but because you were part of showing up every now and then and checking things out, you'll be able to have the information. There are also some problems that will require your input to solve on site. Interestingly, even though you're not the expert in construction, that's your input because of your experiences with other buildings. When things are built, they all work so fine from the beginning. But after 5, 10, 15 years, you begin to experience some things about those property that becomes input, becomes wisdom that you bring on board. Okay. And then during construction, there are supposed to be testing and commissioning of building systems. So the FM is supposed to be part of that process. When engineers and consultants want to test new systems or new equipment that have just been installed, they're supposed to have some templates. Those templates are supposed to show you, what should be and the parameters that should be ideal. Like when you go for a blood test, in the lab, they'll tell you what they are testing. They'll tell you the normal ranges and put your result, provide an interpretation. Those templates should be provided for you so that you are part of, this is an understanding process for you. You want to understand what was intended and what was, actually delivered. You're supposed to understand how the drawings were brought up. Drawings go through the stages of initial schematics, final design, construction modification, and change variations and all that goes into it. And then at the end of the day, the building is fully developed. You now need measure drawings, what we call the as-built drawings, that documents exactly what's on ground, not a modification of what we've been coming along with. So the FM needs to, have all of that information. Now, this stage is a stage where you contribute, but you are also absorbing information to help you in the managing of the properties going forward. And of course, when construction is over, you take over the facility, you begin to manage it. There are certain things you must be aware of. There are warranties and guarantees in place that if certain actions go against those warranties and guarantees, will become void, right? Be aware of this. There are statutory documentation and licenses for different aspects of the sewage to your generators, diesel tanks, underground storage for water or diesel, elevators, and so on and so forth. And then subscriptions to various utilities that come into your facility. The FM should understand all of this, have proper documentation, have a service level specification developed. You understand what the owners or the builders, the occupants, proposed occupants will be coming in to do. So you develop service level specifications, which you will discuss with them and agree on the various service levels. So whether you're going to manage it directly or you're going to get contractors to do it, it's important that someone who is part of that process from the onset is able to scope correctly these requirements. Okay, so whether it's going to be a service level agreement between you and the occupants, of course, that's the first base effort, which is also translated into a service level agreement on the scope of work of contractors or vendors, right? Various services. The FM must be involved in this, and so all of the compliance related issues, all of the service delivery issues, all of the training of staff that are going to operate the facility must be done at this stage. Okay, there's so much that's supposed to come from the construction to FM. Unfortunately, that's not in terms of documentation that should come from construction. We are left to basically reverse engineer the process of information gathering. As built drawings, not provided as built, specifications and bills of quality not provided as built, operations and maintenance manuals for the various components, assets and building systems are not provided to give us technical information, data sheets, everything that was put in there, because every manufacturer provides a technical data that not only describes what has been installed, but also gives you ideas, guidelines on how to manage and operate them. Because when you are creating your own maintenance program, in terms of sequences, routines, types of activities, you should defer to the construction information that comes from the engineers that built it. So you don't guess. You could be looking at a floor tile and it looks like a ceramic tile, it looks like a vitrified tile or any other type of floor tiling. You may be looking at that because of the finishing. Oh, this is granite. Oh, this is vitrified. But you may be making a big mistake. And the maintenance chemicals that are required for different types of flooring, you may make a mistake and use the wrong one and then cause a tainting or a discoloration or even puncture your flooring. For something as simple as that, you need an O&M manual. Air conditioning, electricity, building finishing, furniture. You need to have operations and maintenance manuals for everything in your facility. It's a lot of work that if you don't get it from the construction stage, you develop your maintenance program, or you're trying to reverse engineer that process of gathering the data, starting with your asset register, dealing with your condition assessment, from snag list and the rest. You will be doing a lot of front-end work, right? Which is necessary because you can't take over a facility and start managing without knowing what you're managing. So if you can't get information because you were not there, during the process, then you need to, create them. You need to reverse engineer the process. Okay. So basically, all of that documentation that comes out of construction, we should be there to capture them. We should be able to document variations, be able to tell how things went in different directions during the construction process. So this sometimes I hear, oh, we should have this information, we should give this information to property owners, we should try and train them and orient them, and then embed ourselves with professional bodies that govern the other professional inputs into the built environment so that they can come around and work with us. The truth is we don't have that capacity for facility managers. We're still the smallest group in the built environment, even though we should be much more in terms of professional numbers because we're a young profession. So the call then is to for professionals in design, architecture, professionals in quantity surveys, town planning, estate survey, builders, and the rest. Upskill in facility management, right? Take courses in facility management. The facility management diploma developed by Max-Migold, it's a very robust program that can train all professionals. We've had examples of professional groups, a whole branch of the Institute of Architects, for example, the group in River State came in, as an initiative to take the FM diploma, and it's helped many of them to improve on the architectural work and also expand their businesses into facility management. And this is exactly what we're trying to do. We want to make this inclusive. So everyone in the built environment, whether you're in the marketing space, agencies, whether you are in the property management space, transactions, whether you are in the design and consulting for different stages of the construction process, a builder or whatever, come and take the training as a facility manager. And there are several reasons why this is a very important thing. We do not have, first, I stated that we do not have the number of people that we can plug into every project, right? Many projects don't have the extra slots to bring in someone specifically as facility manager. So a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, architect can double as the FM expert on the project, which saves money for the client or the owner. And then the construction process or the delivery process of buildings, it creates a start and stop flow of your career activities. You could end the project and you don't have another project to move into. You can immediately start managing the one that you were part of in the last time. And when all buildings are built up, all buildings will need to be managed perpetually. There will be a continuous stream of work for facility managers. So don't get hung up on the fact that, oh, I'm an engineer, I'm a consultant, I'm a designer, interior designer, landscape designer, and then I'll wait until a job comes for me to come and train as a facility manager and a credential as a facility manager. Your career will take a new leap because you will always have work in your hands. Okay. So that's our call. We're not saying we are dividing and creating toughs. No, we're not saying it has to be people who were trained as FMs before being embedded. If you can't create a new slot to add an FM consultant into your project, then make sure that the entire project team are trained as facility managers. It will enhance the way they think, the way they take decisions, the way they focus on operational readiness and asset value in that project. And that's something we can all achieve. All right, so requirements for technology. FM is a data-centric profession. It requires you to have enough information. I've highlighted some of the documentation you need to have in place. But when you step into operations and maintenance, you need to take decisions for continuously tweaking your operational processes and refining your processes and service delivery to continually meet the changing needs of the customers and occupants in your facilities. If you don't have the right data, if you're not acquiring the right data on user behaviors and preferences, for example, you cannot make tweaks. You cannot have a continuous improvement program or a project-based approach for improving the services you are delivering. So data is very important. Okay, and then as we begin to gather data on how our facilities are using, we can make decisions around, maintenance, predictive maintenance, for example. We'll be able to make decisions, around failure modes, of facilities, because as they get older, there are certain things you are doing using a certain frequency. For every 200 hours, I service my generator by changing the oil and change the filters and doing some cleanups here and there, right? And I do that continuously. But if I'm gathering data on the performance, the behavior, the mean time between failures of that generator that I'm doing 200 hours, a time might come when I'll take a decision because I'll be able to plot a degradation curve in terms of the quality I'm getting from that generator to decide whether I need to overhaul it or to shorten the time between servicing periods and so on and so forth. If I don't have the data, I'll just be operating blindly. Okay, and we spend money all the time. We spend money in facility. A lot of the money we spend are going to waste, especially in the area of energy and operational effectiveness. Much of the contracting we do are not providing value right now because those contracts are not tied to metrics, key performance indicators that are data-centric. Because if I have metrics, performance indicators in contract, there are certain numbers that will be tracked and reported on to show whether the contract is providing value, improving or not, right? So we need to focus on these as facility managers. If you don't have the software, you don't have the Internet of Things and all of those plugins you need to put together, but you have the basic logbooks and Excel spreadsheets to gather data. You can do basic analysis and come up with a decision that help you optimize your facilities. And as the facility goes through that life cycle, it gets to a point where degradation sets in. Of course, there are continuous defects you are dealing with on a stage by stage, on a day-to-day basis. There's wear and tear you're responding to. So if you have a deferred maintenance log that captures all of your defects that you're not able to fix immediately, it will help you account for that degradation in your facility. At the point of steep decline in quality, which you can measure using mean time between failures, customer complaints, tracking, customer satisfaction index monitoring. There's so many metrics in FM that will teach you on how to track the results from the services you are delivering. If you're getting to that point where you need to take a decision, that data is going to show you that, oh, this time we should take a break, do a renovation, do an overhaul, do a remodeling, and so on and so forth. Whatever can bring us back up in quality and help us provide the services to as close as practically possible that the customers require from us, right? So there are those terminal points where we stop fix and then bring it back. But then at the end of the life of that facility, we will have to let it go, bring it down, something up. That's different. Okay. Now, but you see, FMs in managing this aspect of the life cycle on the operations and maintenance with renovations, replacements, improvements, intermittently coming into that operational and maintenance cycle, you will have to consider how your activities impact the end user. That's a big aspect of what we do. Sometimes we are working noise, dust, electrical disruptions, water leakage here and there. And we're trying to optimize our projects, get things done quickly, and then we'll not begin to stop or reduce productivity in the end user. That planning must be effective. It has to be thorough to ensure we don't create such disruptions. And then, of course, sustainability. Apart from costs, there are high-level strategic benefits from operating sustainably. Your environmental impacts, your footprints, your greenhouse gas emissions, all of the things that result in negative impact on the environment is already now moving through it started with friendly moral codes to help save the world and as positive initiative. It's moving beyond that now into regulatory. The governments all over the world are beginning to put laws in place to prevent you from wasting even your own money, because in the process of wasting your own money, you are creating harm for the world, increasing global warming, causing fires, earthquakes, and flooding that you will not be there to bear in many cases. Many people have built across drain lines where stormwater is supposed to pass through, and the buildings are still standing there. Other people are getting flooded in the same neighborhood, and nobody's doing anything about it. So when the government comes around to say we are demolishing all properties on waterway and so on, everybody says, oh, it's a wicked government. But think about how you moved away from not having the conscience, not acting without conscience when it was moral obligation. So now that you fully contravene the law and you don't expect the law to be implemented against it. So think about that. But beyond that, there are positive results from sustainability. People can now measure their sustainability results, metrics, and be paid for it, because not everybody will be able to operate sustainably to the targets they expect. So if you can plant trees, if you can create green spaces, if you can reduce energy use and become a net zero environmental impact facility, you can earn credits in global market or exchange where you can be paid for this effort, so that everybody plays a role in protecting and saving the planet. And of course, during demolition, during bringing down facility, you do a lot of rubbles and things to throw away. And landfills, receive much of these waste. At the end of the day, they are not things that are easily biodegradable, right? So let's think about that in life cycle consideration. The materials we use for our buildings, as much as possible, should be biodegradable, recyclable, reusable. And then as we end the life of the particular asset, what can be removed and used for other things as much as possible, we should consider. Okay, it's important that we do not make that end of life a negative, horrible experience for the earth itself. Recycling, waste reduction, hazard management, eco-friendly disposal, energy efficiency are all considerations in the end of life processes for the facilities that we manage. And then buildings are advancing very fast now with technologies that are being incorporated into it. So two key technologies. I mean, we all are familiar with softwares for optimizing our operations, reducing our costs, improving efficiency, defining our processes, and ensuring that those processes are enforced, by machines and humans to remove human error. That's a big deal. But now the buildings themselves, with the incorporation of Internet of Things, where gadgets, sockets, switches, fuses, controllers and monitors are connected or interconnected. So data is generated real time. If you live in a smart building, the building begins to learn your patterns, ask you questions, interact with you in ways that shows that there's now a symbiotic relationship. The data from your life is now being used to optimize the results you get, helps you to become more efficient, have better comfort, right? Now, managers of these buildings need to also be able to integrate this with their own software, right? So that I don't need to see that power has run out. I don't need to get to the end of the month before I know that so much power was used in a particular process or activity that is not adding value to my organization. I can pinpoint every kilowatt hour that was spent on everything, because I have all that data disaggregated, socket by socket, switch by switch, pump by pump, circuit breaker by circuit breaker. right? And I can now remotely turn things on and off, right? I can now remotely interact in ways that I will see the exact areas where wastage has been happening and plug them. Okay, and as facility managers, there is so much power from data that comes from IoT and BIM. We can effectively implement predictive maintenance. We don't have to do repeated activities when there's no need for it, because preventive maintenance is a safe way to do maintenance, where we take certain actions just to make sure that we have an alibi that we did what we should have done to prevent it from breaking down, even though it will still break down. But if we have buildings advanced with IoT and BIM, BIM has to provide 3D imagery, provide data-rich information about everything in the facility. And IoT takes information on how we are using our operations and maintenance, the activities that we are running in there, as well as the energy we are consuming, and adds that to a platform that helps the users to get comfort, become more sustainable, save costs, become more efficient in the way they use their facility, and helps all the managers to also save costs, provide sustainability credits, and so on and so forth. Now, you see, all of this helps us to work more efficiently. And that process, that progress towards that digitalized world where buildings and cities are smart, we are already on that threshold. We in Max-Migold have been working on a project to because people talk about smart buildings, smart cities, and everybody's thinking about the new ones, building a new high-rise, building a new city, building a new building, and incorporating smart IoT sensors everywhere. But we can actually use retrofit approaches to turn old buildings into smart buildings. We can put in chips behind sockets and switches, put in smart meters, put in sensors for all kinds of things in the facility, and provide the same results that a brand new facility can have. So reach out to Max-Migold if you have any developments, without old development to refurbish and turn smart, or a new one that you want to incorporate the right technology into, and we'll be on hand to provide the technical support, consulting, and project implementation for you. All right, so FM is essential to ensure the efficiency, sustainability, and longevity of our buildings throughout their life cycle. Technologies such as IoT, BIM, data analytics are playing roles in optimizing building performance and maintenance, especially in the area of predictive maintenance that we discussed. Sustainable practices in design, operations, commissioning, review, environmental impact, and operational cost. And FMs contribute substantially to the success of the building by integrating operational insights at every stage of its life cycle. And then we must have continuous adaptation to new technologies and evolving organizational needs that ensure buildings remain functional and efficient over time. Yeah, so that's our session for today's Giving Back series. I hope you picked a thing or two from it. I'm going to allow people to unmute and ask a question. I usually give you a chance to ask at least a question if you've not put it on the chat. For those who are trying to get on our facility management courses page on the website, please go to facilitymanagementcourses.com. It's there. You have promo.facilitymanagementcourses.com, which is specifically for the FM diploma. Do we have the group chats to join our WhatsApp group? Okay, so if you're on the chat of this, link on this Zoom, if you scroll back, all the chats of our previous classes, interestingly, are there. So it's almost as if you are scrolling back to using your WhatsApp. But I think some links would expire. So like the WhatsApp group link and Telegram group links, they do expire. So I would expect that somebody in the Max-Migold team should please drop those links afresh for those who want to join our groups. All right. So chat. Yes, fantastic. Adini, you're welcome. Look forward to seeing you in class when we resume in January. All right, and for everyone who enjoys this session, please subscribe to our channels. Go to Trustberry, go to Google, go to any app that you're familiar with where you can recommend Max-Migold. That helps, sell the vision to others who are coming up as well. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Paul Erubami. Follow us on LinkedIn. We have about 17,000 followers on LinkedIn and growing every day. So be part of that so you can get daily updates of what we put out for your benefits and improvements. Until we meet again next week, Thursday, have a good rest of the week and be productive. See you next week. Bye-bye.